No, no, Donald, no. Why? 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 Why do you want to screw up everything? Just do you and be yourself. That's all we need to win this upcoming election because you, whether you know it or not, unwittingly, because of your superior intelligence, you're going to bring the victory home to us because we know you got it in you. Hello, everybody. My name is Ron Tucker. Welcome to my YouTube channel. It's called At Ron's Talking. I am the host, Ron Tucker, and I'm very, very happy for anybody who took the time to take a look at my video. I'm just getting started with YouTube. Got about 5 videos out right now and published. Plan on doing a lot more. So if you like me, great. Give me a thumbs up on the like button. Please subscribe. You know, subscriptions doesn't mean that you're going to be buying subscriptions to magazines or something like that. It's going to cost you any money. It's all about the algorithms. So you're not going to incur any cost for subscribing. And if you don't like my content, just keep watching. Run up the flagpole, see what happens. If you hold your nose for a minute till you really get the feel of my flow, give it some time. And if you don't like it, by that point, after about a couple years, then, you know, go ahead and tail off and leave me alone. I'll leave you alone. How's that? Cool. Speaking of thumbs up, there's a little incident going on involving the thumb. And naturally, if it's anything that's involving something that is making headlines, you know, your boy Trump got to be involved in it. And we'll get to him later in this video. But for right now, I'm going to put him on the back burner. Let's talk about a little bit something else that's near and dear to all Americans' hearts: racism. Okay, I'm going to start with a little incident that happened in a town called La Plata, Maryland. My source was Unilad, and this occurred on August 23rd, 2024, with a Chick-fil-A location. There's a black customer who came to Chick-fil-A, drove through their drive-thru to get a meal, and after he received his meal and got his receipt, the receipt had a unique little moniker on it called monkeys. Now, that word coming from an employee of a restaurant tends to kind of get your blood pressure up a little bit. At least it will with mine, I'm sure. I'd be hot. So the customer, whose actual name was Marquise, he decided to go into the store and speak to the manager on duty, and he wanted to know who this employee was that typed that word monkey on his receipt. The manager on duty also agreed that the slur wasn't even close to his name. But I don't think anything came about it that was substantial. So Marquise decided to try to contact the CEO of Chick-fil-A via Facebook, whose name was Andrew T. Cathy. So the results, inconsequential. No results that I know of. But anyway, the issue still could be ongoing. I don't know. He also, Mr. Marquise, also had a subsequent phone conversation with the employee's manager, and the manager said the employee was 17 years old, and he said he put down the name he thought he heard you say, so I stand with him and will not terminate him. So there you go, living in America. Okay, isn't it funny that white employees always at restaurants and other places that people frequent, especially black people, they have a penchant of expressing their racial views by writing some derogatory slur on a receipt, and they're so cowardly. That's what they do. They're gonna hand the receipt to somebody, let them know, hey, I'm a racist. I don't like you ends, you know, you monkeys, jigaboos, whatever you want to call us. And they try to hide behind the counter. And it's funny though that it's always white employees expressing themselves to black customers like that. It's never the opposite way or the other way around. I, it's not that I don't get it. It's just interesting. Okay. Well, I wish Mr. Marquise a lot of luck in dealing with Chick-fil-A. I myself, I like Chick-fil-A, but I don't like it that much where I got to go frequent them. That's just my opinion, my feelings. Maybe that's going to be my silent protest. But trust me, there's plenty of chicken around. I can deal without Chick-fil-A's chicken. So anyway, here's the next story. Source: Atlanta Black Star. Former Mississippi Sheriff Brett McAlpin, he was convicted of torturing 2 black men in 2023, but now he's crying to the judge to reduce the 27 years he received because he claimed, "Oh, I was just sitting in the truck. I wasn't doing anything. My goons, I mean my boys, they were the ones inflicting all this damage on me. I was just out there waiting for them." So that's his excuse. That's his justification to ask for a reduced sentence. I think he done served a few months so far, but bro, you got a long time to go. Believe me. So since Mr. McAlpin, the deputy sheriff, was waiting for his SS Nazi like troops who were in there carrying out his orders, they were beating these guys. They used stun guns. Repeatedly assaulted the guys with sex toys, and decided to shoot one of the victims in the mouth. Come on, folks. How would you like to get shot in your mouth because you were black? Okay. I need to send this info to our great Senator Tim Scott, who feels like racism don't exist in the United States. So, wonder how old Timmy feels about this. He probably hasn't read it. Probably doesn't know anything about it, but maybe we can get it to him some kind of way. The night of the attack, the deputies barged into the men's homes without a warrant, turned off their body cams, and began roughing up the victims while hurling the obligatory racial slurs. He said the attack lasted several hours. Can you imagine being attacked for several hours by people doing that kind of just monstrous beatings and just vile things to you physically? Think about it. Several hours being subjected to all of that. But it happens. Okay. Now, you might wonder how this all came about, what precipitated it. Well, of course, it all started with some, most likely, sorry, white folks, one of yours, who decided to call the police because you allege that there was 2 black men living with a white woman, which obviously in the United States, that's got to be a crime, a felony or something. I don't know. But that's what started the whole thing. And it was in a town called Braxton, Mississippi. That's where it began. That's the town where it occurred. Now, since there was no crime committed, that didn't stop old racist Brett and his boys from getting involved. And this wasn't their first rodeo, because I'm sure they've been doing this for a long time. They just finally got caught. Okay? They were probably practicing their craft like Olympians practice their performances and their skill set to perform in the Olympics. Okay? So what the group did, they beat the hell out of those 2 men. And they also swapped disturbing text messages on WhatsApp describing other things they have been involved in. All official things, like, say for instance, tasing people in the face and private parts as well as that, joking about having sex with people who died by suicide, by murder, or car accidents, while showing pictures of their corpses. Law enforcement at its finest, folks. Now, these Neanderthals that were involved in this show of subhuman intelligence at its finest were given 40 years, 20 years, 17 and a half, and 10 years respectively. Of course, old Brett got 27. So, there you have it. And there's more. We got a little bit of racial harassment that was conducted at a place called Eagle High School in a town called Eagle, a little bit outside of Boise, Idaho. Again, my source is Atlanta Black Star. Honestly, I don't know anybody from Idaho. To be honest, if I met anybody from Idaho, I don't remember who they were. Wasn't many. And I don't even know where this little town is located. Maybe somebody knows about it and can share that with us and, bring us up to snuff on how people live there in that little town. Because according to this story, I wouldn't want to live there. Two families have been subjected to racial harassment of their children at this Idaho high school, and one father just said he's had enough and he's planning to file a lawsuit against the school district. His daughters, Bella Cameron, Jaden Hodge, and Jaden's little sister, say they endured a barrage of shocking and unapologetic harassment at Eagle High School, sometimes in front of teachers who allegedly did nothing about it. Anyway, that doesn't surprise me. Now, they said when students discovered they complained about what was happening to them, they would suffer further bullying. Now, since Eagle is predominantly white, with about 85% of the residents being white, and as of the 2022 census, 57 African Americans live in the city, period. Only 57. So you're not going to get too much justice up in there if you're black and you're dealing with a bunch of white folks who apparently don't too much care for you. Okay. One of the girls said she was called the N-word frequently by other students, once in front of a teacher, seemingly without any fallout behind it. In another incident, a history teacher also used derogatory names for black military members. Hate. Got to say something bad about those black people. Military, astronaut, former president. You know what I'm talking about. Anyway, I'll move on. One of the girls said it's just degrading to us. It feels like we have no one to turn to, and they didn't. And of course, the so-called school administration told the victim's family, we will look into it, and we're going to get right down to the bottom of it. Just wait till I reply. We'll get with you. Don't worry. We got it covered. Yep. Okay. Ain't heard nothing back from them since. Like you said, that's a hell of a way to go through a school year, or school years in their case, because they graduated now. The girls at Boise State, I believe. So, they're probably trying to make the best of what their life was when they were in high school. We should have had fond memories of your high school education, the years you spent with your friends, and just enjoying the high school experience as young teenagers. But unfortunately for these girls, the only memories they have is of the racial vitriol and venom that was inflicted upon them by their fellow students. Way to go, Eagle High. Keep up the good work. It's almost like living in a fishbowl infested with racist sharks and gators. Where you gonna go? It's just a shame. And don't think that racism is all about black folks, particularly. I mean, like, there's other racism that's happening in our country. This one dealing with the LGBTQ population. The source came from the LGBTQ Nation. And this situation occurred out of New Hampshire. It involved a GOP lawmaker. His name was David Love. Now, this guy let his alligator mouth get his hummingbird ass in a bind to the tune of $200,000 because he apparently hates drag queens. Now, Mr. Love had to settle a 2-year-old court battle with two drag queens, Robert Champion and Michelle McMahon, following Love's accusations that were false that both men had an inappropriate relationship with children. So when he was found out and busted for the liar he was, as part of the settlement, Mr. Love had to admit his claims were completely false. He made a slew of allegations even after he was told to cease and desist. Now, he was forced to apologize on social media, no less. And as a true coward, he attributed the falsehoods to being provided to him, and there was inaccurate information that he failed to verify. So, in other words, you fucked up. So, in the famous words of this young singer who wanted to get her cash, she said, and I quote, "You better get my money." And speaking of trout mouths, we got some other ones. Well, this conservative influencer named Summer Bushnell, she got a pony up 1.1 mil to a black drag queen in Idaho. Now, again, I don't know too many people in Idaho, so this place in Idaho was, I'm not even sure where it was located. But anyway, Miss Bushnell, the influencer, she decided to doctor up a video of this drag queen named Mona Lisa Million. And the million sounds like it's appropriate right now. Okay, so this influencer alleged supposedly that Miss Mona Lisa was exposing herself to children in an attempt to prove that drag queens should not be allowed to perform in public. So she claimed she had a photo to prove her allegations, but she was so blind and stupid and consumed by hatred that she blurred the pictures so that thousands who viewed the pictures couldn't see that the drag queen was fully clothed. So the vigilantes against LGBTQ, of course, they came flying out their caves like a bunch of bats to call the police and complain. Well, the police said the complaints they received were from people who actually didn't witness her performance in the first place. So the police said since the photo that Summer Bushnell, the influencer, provided them was blurred, the allegations of indecent exposure to other crimes could not be supported. Because you couldn't see anything. No genitalia, nothing to show. So where was your complaint coming from, and what was it about, and where's the evidence? We don't see anything. So, of course, case was dismissed. No prosecution. Okay. So, after that happened, the drag queen was receiving a whole bunch of death threats to the point where she got tired of it and she decided to sue Miss Bushnell. So, Miss Bushnell lost the suit. Like I said earlier, $1.1 million. She got a pony up. My question to Miss Bushnell is this. Was it really worth lying and defaming someone just so your conservative friends and your social media trolls will love you? I bet you none of those folks are going to pony up any of that money to help you pay for that judgment that you lost. And the drag queen is going to thank you, I'm sure, from the bottom of her heart, because she ain't got to work as hard for a while thanks to you and your racist views and attitude and your actions. So, in the immortal words of one Governor Tim Walsh, mind your own business. Now, pay the lady, or the man, or whatever. Pay up. That's what you got to do. Okay. Now, we're moving right along. Oh, here we go. Here comes the Donald. Here comes the Donald. I have no fear. The Donald's here. let's talk about my boy, Captain Bone Spurs, as he's so lovably called from time to time. His affection, one of his affectionate titles. He's got so many of them. Captain Bone Spurs, he took the time to grace the place with his face by attending a ceremony to commemorate Gold Star family members who died during the 2021 withdrawal from Afghanistan. Now, y'all know this is that Arlington National Cemetery issue, fiasco, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, I'm going to expound on it a little bit, okay? So bear with me. Now, you can bet a bunch of Trumpy bears that Trump's campaign probably constructed and concocted this thing that he did, and those families went along with it, the ones that he was dealing with, those Gold Star families, because there are some Gold Star families like the ones that Trump was involved in that are down with him, and they're MAGA people, and so they support him no matter what he does. So here's how it went down. Now, the families claim, and Trump claims, that they contacted Trump to make sure that it was okay for him to tag along just for the ride, for the campaign optics that he needed, because he is desperate for attention right now, because he's behind VP Harris, not only in the polls, but in his mind, even though he wants to downplay and say he's not. Okay? So, not only does his ignorant ass age bully and physically attack an Arlington Cemetery employee because they wanted to take videos and photos of the former skunk in chief, which Army regulations and DOD policies, which don't mean shit to Trump, it clearly prohibits political activities on cemetery grounds. Okay? So, being the kind of cockroach Trump is, and his boys, they didn't bother to even care about the regulations and rules, because that's not their thing. Hey, look, when you tell them no, that means yes. They're gonna do it. So, Trump camp says they had the permission of the Gold Star families to bring campaign designated media to Section 60. Now, Section 60, for people who don't know, is a plot of space that Arlington National Cemetery has designated for their fallen heroes, especially I think the ones in Iran conflict and Afghanistan. So it's supposed to be sacred ground, and dignitaries and individuals are all briefed on the do's and don'ts, and campaign designated media, photographs, videos, all this stuff is strictly prohibited. Okay. Now, my question, one of them is, since when did the DOD and the Army cede over authority to the Gold Star families to override and supersede military regulations? They wanted Trump to be there, if that's the truth, which I believe they wanted him to come, but they didn't co-sign on the cameras and the videos. That's a Trump and Trump campaign thing that they did. But nevertheless, even if they said they don't mind Trump and his crew taking photographs and stuff like that, they still knew it was wrong. And again, the DOD didn't give the Gold Star family that authority to authorize that. I didn't know the Gold Star families had that kind of pull and that kind of clout. But, I've been out the Army for a long time, so maybe things have changed since then. I don't know. Anyway, by the very words, campaign designated media meant Trump was there to get his shine on at the expense of those unwitting, or maybe not unwitting, families. And just to show you how sorry ass and weak our military leadership was at the time, and it looks like since a few days have passed since that happened, they sound like they trying to buck up a little bit and stand up to what Trump got away with. When it comes to Captain Khan, the Arlington Cemetery employee who reported the incident, she had been pushed and verbally assaulted by his goons. She decided to not press charges. And her rationale, which in today's climate is valid when it comes to Trump and his people, that she was afraid of retaliation. And it's a sad state of affairs that that's what goes on in our society ever since Trump came on the scene. But that's how we live. That's what's happening. To me, the Army and the DOD, they acknowledged the incident occurred. But, see, the Trump SS Nazi boys pushing her around, and because she's a female now, they got away with it. And the Pentagon spokesperson, whoever uttered this little statement, they could have saved this piece of horse shit for a later date. The rules and regulations are very, very clear. And the Defense Department stands by the Army. That was their response initially. So what is the Army standing by? And what are they standing by, waiting for Trump and his wharf rats to do some more damage? Just to show the military that he gives a damn about what they stand for. He knows they won't stand up to him. They never did when he was in office as president. And the same holds true right now. He is a citizen, criminal, /crook, /con. And that military employee was probably told to leave it alone because we aren't going to back you anyway. So you might as well just drop it. And she knew their supervisor who have all of those medals and citations and all those ribbons on their dress greens. They're spineless, and they got the hearts. They got mustard hearts, put it that way. And a mustard heart is somebody whose heart is yellow, if you don't know. So even with their rules being violated and the Trump spokesman having the audacity to say that the employee is suffering from mental instability and we are prepared to release footage if such defamatory claims are made against us. Please. Really? The Pentagon has not even asked for an apology from Trump's renegades. And you know what? Trump's stooges are lying just like him, just as efficiently as the boss, because the defamatory claims have already been made. So release the footage you talking about y'all got, and then the mess will be cleared up. And the Arlington employee in the DOD and the Army should issue you and Trump an apology. And y'all know that shit ain't going to happen, because if they had any footage, it would have shown and been shown a long time ago that they are liars, which would surprise absolutely no one. And what was the end result, folks, of all of this BS? The liar in chief, or is it the chief liar? Either one is apropos. He gets the photo he desired with his crooked little thumb up. Normally is up in his rear, but I digress. He doesn't give a rat's ass about those soldiers, mothers, fathers, nor anybody in their family. Now, just to prove my point or drive it home a little bit, here are some excerpts of some of his lying BS, being that he ain't nothing but a POS, as he displayed his stunning ignorance of all things humane. In October 29, 2016, according to the HuffPost, he attacked a Gold Star family called the Khan family, whose son, Captain Humayun Khan, died while protecting his unit in 2004. Now, the father, Kazir Khan, and his wife, Kazala, they appeared at the DNC convention in July 2016 after Trump suggested the mother wasn't allowed to speak because she's a Muslim. She said she did not want to speak because she was too upset to speak about what Trump said about the family. So when Trump was informed about what they said in response to what he had said, of course, in typical Trump fashion, he decided to respond with, "Oh, they are vile. They're just shills." And he attacked them. So he, in his genius, didn't even know what a Gold Star family was and what Gold Star meant. Because once he was informed that he attacked the Gold Star family, the little genius, he responded with, "What's that?" It took a convicted criminal, Paul Manafort, to inform this imbecile, this moron, what a Gold Star family meant. In January of this year, this idiot was at it again, feuding with 3 Gold Star family members, Karen Meredith, John Fenton, and Melida Arredondo, who were ticked off by Trump allegedly calling fallen soldiers suckers and losers, which we've heard a number of times from some credible sources. So, of course, Trump retaliated like the classist clown he always is by calling them shills and they're vile and nasty. Yet he couldn't wait to show up like the Roadrunner when he saw a photo opportunity in this recent Arlington National Cemetery debacle. You know what, folks? I can't wait to September the 10th. Can't wait. That's the supposed date of the debate between Kamala Harris and Trump. Now, I told people in my last video, he's going to keep on trying to exploit the notion that he may or may not show up. Why? Because as long as he's talking about something, here comes the news media to report on it. And that gives him airtime, gives him photo op time, puts that shine that he's looking for all the time. And he's going to string and play with that to get publicity until it's time for him to show up. Okay? He's going to show up, though. Everybody wants to speculate because that's news. The news, they make their hits and get their clicks and all those things because Trump is talking about something. And so he knows it, they know it, and they're like a dance partner. But he's going to show up because really he has no choice. But it's going to be sort of like the second Tyson Holyfield fight. Trump is going to be desperate, just like Mike Tyson was. But see, this time the opponent is going to be different. It's not going to be Joe Biden. It's going to be Kamala Harris. But it's going to be the same outcome. He's going to lose the debate. He's going to be desperate. All I can tell Kamala is this: watch your ear. And I give a few little updates here on some things that have happened this past week. Elon Musk and X, formerly known as Twitter, have been ordered by the government of Brazil to shut it down over there. See, a judge whom Elon had been feuding with for months over disinformation, misinformation coming from the Twitter platform, they gave Elon 24 hours, and that was as of Wednesday, to get things settled, get it straight, or else you got to go. Elon told them to kick rocks. So the Brazilian judge dropped the hammer and said, "You're out of here." So this is what's happening with Twitter over in Brazil, under the leadership of the great genius, allegedly, Elon Musk. Couldn't happen to a nicer guy. Um, yeah, a federal judge named Alvin Hellerstein denied the Trump team's request to remove his felony hush money cover-up case from Manhattan to a federal jurisdiction, which Trump feels like he'll get more favorable treatment, of course, because he wants to get it out of the state jurisdiction. Because he knows at the federal level, if he became president, for example, he won't be able to do anything about that case because it's at the state level, not federal. But judge said, partner, we know where you're trying to go. We ain't going there with you. So Trump has the option to refile the petition if he chooses to, but he's got to do so either with the blessings of Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg or Judge Juan Merchan. I think his chances are going to be like slim and none. Slim already left town, So I think he's through in that venue. But see, a former individuals who had gone before Judge Merchan, they indicated that the judge he'll view things favorably towards you if you just treat him with dignity and respect that he should deserve. Does that include Trump? Y'all tell me. I don't think Trump's ever said anything vile or nasty or mean to Judge Merchan that I can recall. Can y'all? Maybe his daughter. Maybe the clerk. Let me move on. In Florida, there's a MAGA lawmaker rather, who's been charged with 4 counts of forgery. I think it was in the millions of dollars that she's on the hook for, and she claims it was a hit job that was engineered by a partisan newspaper based on misunderstandings. Yeah, you're right. There's been some misunderstandings here, and baby girl, you look like you might be in some big, as Elmer Fudd would say, troubles. Big troubles. Back to my boy, Mr. Trump. See, they were talking about how dementia and Joe Biden's cognitive skills were eroding, and he didn't know which way was up, and he's just wandering around aimlessly, don't know where he's going, don't know what's happening. Well, I guess that shock of Biden passing the baton over to Kamala at the wrong time for Trump and his team, he still ain't recovered from it, because that boy's been shook ever since that went down. He's been discombobulated. He's in a frenzy. He's just he's out there in left field, and he all out of position. Okay, this nitwit thought he was going to give a speech. Of course, it was probably going to be on professional line in La Crosse, Wisconsin, and instead it was a town hall meeting that was scheduled with one of his loyalists, Tulsi Gabbard, former Democrat. And of course, the liar in chief, he tried to explain away his brain fart by stating, I figured I was going to come here and we're going to give a speech. Yes, a speech. I have a speech all set for you. I was ready to lie. And then a source says, sir, he always like to say, sir, they said, sir. Well, somebody said, sir, you're doing a town hall. Trump said, oh, and nobody told me. No one told me that. Who's doing this? They said it was Tulsi. Well, that's good. That's good. That's good news. We were set to give you one hell of a speech. Why doesn't someone tell me this? The event was advertised several days in advance. Captain Chaos, he's too busy flying around on Con Air and going to wrong venues and running his mouth at venues where it ain't nothing but a bunch of incoherent gibberish and garbage. He don't even know where he's supposed to be, what he's supposed to be doing, or nothing. But if Joe Biden had done this kind of gaffe, the media, Trump, and all of his acolytes would be all over it like a cheap suit. But Trump, he always enjoys the double standard. He always gets it, the preferential treatment. That's inherent with him. Oh, and by the way, if I'm not mistaken, his town hall, it didn't start on time. It was about an hour behind schedule. Now, I recall doing that NABJ, the National Association of Black Journalists interview a while back. He couldn't wait to chastise Rachel Scott, one of the black journalists, and he kept accusing her of making his interview late. Now, I wonder if he had the same outrage and the same vitriol and anger, and if he grilled the white hosts and people who put up this town hall for running late. You ain't heard nothing, have you? And you won't hear nothing. Now, they wonder why inflation and our economy was in peril when old dumb Donald was the president. And his proclivity to want to impose tariffs on foreign imports. And it's another stark reason this man has no business running our country or even being nowhere near the White House again. He is too ignorant to understand that imposing a tariff hurts the country that receives the goods, not the country that exports it. But you can't tell him that because he's a stable genius. And now one of his brainless conservative talk show commentator supporter, Tommy Lauren, decided to flex her IQ by asking Mark Cuban, a billionaire, do you not know what a tariff is, during a conversation they were having. and so the whole conversation between those two went back and forth, and it stemmed from old dumb Donald's remarks at a recent Michigan rally where Trump said, we're going to bring back factories and make Michigan successful again. And we can do that very easily through the taxation of foreign nations. See, the last time, imbecile, this moron decided to impose tariffs on a foreign country, which was China, we got bit in our crack. See, Trump doesn't know anything about running anything except run his mouth. And he's always trying to pass legislation like he passes gas. And he don't have a clue as to what to do. But people still follow this fool. And he didn't tell anyone what a dumb move that was, because he didn't know himself. Now, if he screwed up then, and you got people in America who wanted to put him back in office so he can do it again, it was dumb then and it'd be even dumber now. But I forgot. He's a stable genius. He actually belongs in the stable, all right, with some more jackasses. Now, the update on the Arlington Cemetery debate and debacle. And, as I stated earlier, Trump, as usual, says he didn't have anything to do with the decision to take photos at Arlington National Cemetery, but he claims now it was a setup by the administration. It's Joe Biden's fault. That's what happened. It was Joe's fault. You know, we're leading the internet. TikTok people, many people. I don't know who's doing these things. We're so far above her on these things. Now, right then and there, you can see where he was going with this whole thing, why he did it. He's worried about ratings. Just like he's always worried about crowd sizes. If you didn't know anything about what was happening, why you bring up to this journalist that was talking to him about this incident, about TikTok and how you're leading people on the internet. See, you were doing things that we all saw, that we all know. You were doing it for you. And so he claims, I don't know the rules and regulations of those things. I don't know who did it. It could have been them. It could have been the parents. Talking about the Gold Star parents. I ain't going to blame it on them. I don't know anything. In that statement he just made, he's right. He doesn't know anything. And that's why, America, do yourself a favor. Do all of us a favor. The people who are still supporting this ignorant clown who likes to run around and attack people like he's a little third grader on the playground. This individual who has no policies to speak of, but resorts to childish attacks about somebody's laugh. That just goes to show you what type of person you're dealing with. The man's a blithering idiot. And he's always willing to pass the buck on somebody else. He's always willing to blame somebody else for his incompetence and his mistakes. It's everybody's fault but him. Never him. Never. And for him to stand in front of graves at Arlington National Cemetery and do the thumbs up shows you all you need to see. It was another photo op for Donald Trump to try to give these gullible, stupid, dumb people the impression that he gives a crap about military people. He doesn't give a crap about people in general unless it serves his purposes. But how many times we got to see this movie? How many times we got to see this scenario? How many more times do we have to see the obvious? America is sort of like a battered woman in a bad marriage. America still thinks that he's going to change and become something that he's incapable of being. Face it, America. You screwed up in 2016, you didn't know it. You finally realized in 2020. Don't let him back in the house. He's a cheat. He's a convicted felon, twice impeached, sexual abuser. All these things have been documented. And he's also guilty of election interference. And I ain't even talked about the secret documents down in Mar-a-Lago. How in the hell is anybody going to believe that this man won't sell us out? He was just talking the other day at a town hall, praising Putin and talking about, well, what if Russia hadn't invaded Ukraine? Where would we be today? The man was talking about windmills. People don't want to eat bacon anymore. That's your idea of a competent individual who's going to lead the United States of America? Amen. Look here, people. Take the loss in 2016. Eat it. You get a mulligan for 2020. Let's keep the streak rolling. You're on a roll right now. Don't let that clown back in office. Because if you do, don't say you wasn't warned. Try to tell you. Don't say we didn't warn you. Thanks everybody for listening to my video. Please subscribe and maybe give me a thumbs up if you like. If you don't, it's America. It's your choice. But please hear me from my heart. Donald Trump, of everything that people say about the man, what I've said about the man, look at it with your eyes wide open and see the contrast between him, Kamala Harris. The contrast couldn't be more stark. You got a convict over here, you got a person who convicts people over here. Enough said. Take care. Talk to y'all soon.